Welcome to a tutorial. Today we're going to be talking about task 6B, which is going to be developing your ideas in more detail. So we've done our brainstorming ideas. We've got hopefully a range of ideas that are very simple, and we want to develop them into more comprehensive and detailed sketches with more annotations so that they can be interpreted by others. Now is the criteria B task 2. So we want a range, and they must include sketches and annotations so they can be understood. And that includes two things. This includes a sketch, which will be larger, full color, and there may be additional views to show parts or the back or the top so you can really understand how your product is designed. It'll also include more annotations. These are listed here. A short description. You can talk about the audience and its function and what it is, in a sentence or two. Measurements, length, width, and height. If a part is separated and you want to show the basic measurements of it as well. These should still be pretty close to the real product, but they could be estimates at this point. We'll develop it even further in the final diagrams. Identify the key parts, talk about the materials you used, basic construction methods like what would you use to create this, and what tools or resources you would use. So in order to do the sketch, there's some very basic steps to follow. Start with the dimension bounding box, like a rectangle or a few points that you can work within so you can keep it to a good size. You can use the space on your paper. Then use construction lines, light lines. Start filling in the detail where you're creating the details. I go ahead after that and color it, and then come back and add in additional outlines with a marker or a more pencil or a pen, something like that, and then I add the shading and stuff. So I'm going to show you some examples how I did that. Okay, so I got my pencil down. I'm doing some quick construction lines for the shape. Very quick. Put a title on it. I start with a title. Got my basic outlines for most of the parts. Oh, and remember to keep your pencil sharp, but don't pick your nose. There we go. Quick and fast. I put in my bounding box after I built it. That's not the way to do it, but those lines are not very straight. I'll probably go back and fix that in there, adding in some measurements, using the bounding box actually as a reference. I can add in the measurements, listing the parts, quick plan, showing the bottom of the table to show how the legs are attached to the frame. Some tools and resources. Another one, I'm going to do a stool. So if you're creating a stool, it'd be good to look at some reference stools as well, so that you can kind of see what shapes you're looking at as you're drawing. Again, adding measurements, a side view, some materials, a quick description up there, some basic annotations here, some tools I might need. Okay, here's another idea. Again, title, laptop charger. I'm showing the back of the laptop charger where the charging cords would go. Basic shapes, outlines, color. You can go back and darken in the edges that you want to see. Measurements, quick description, materials, sharp charger. And I put a laptop in there just to show functionality. The question is always, how many? And so if we put a number on it, it does depend on how well the sketch is done and how much annotation you have on it. So we like to say the number 3, but that would be 3 with all the information on it. It can be interpreted by others, and you've touched on all of these things here. So 3 good sketches that show development that can be understood would be a level 8. In some cases, you can also do a few more just to show that you have developed more ideas, and we may have like here's a side view that's not really well done, some information here. So we say 3 or plus because it helps if you feel like developing a few more ideas, it will help. So doing 5 with less annotations might be the same as doing 3 with all of the annotations. I did 5 of them, and this would definitely put me in the level 8. These took me about 10 minutes each, maybe 15 for one or more of them, but about 10 minutes. So it's completely within the time that we would have in class to work on these. If you are so inclined to use Fusion 360 at this point, it's absolutely okay to go into Fusion 360 and design your developed ideas in Fusion 360 as well. It's a good way to get started in that digital. Also here on the side, if you did a drawing here and you wanted to add additional annotations over here, that's perfectly acceptable as well.
Okay, just to recap, we've got the title, a short description, got the main sketch, which is colored with details, measurements, parts are labeled. We got a second view to show some detail underneath, some tools, materials, and a basic plan. And that's